In this video, we're going to cover how to calculate your rental estimates with Pelago. Specifically, we're going to talk about income and long-term projections. Your income, also known as your cash flow, is shown on the top where it says monthly rent and monthly costs. If we open up our monthly costs, we'll see that it includes things from taxes and insurance, and also things like property management, a maintenance budget, and even a vacancy budget. It's important that we include all of these in if we think about being totally hands-off with our property. But if we're going to be a little more hands-on and we don't want to account for some of these costs, we can pay ourselves and just remove some of these numbers. So for example, maybe we're only going to pay ourselves $100 a month as the property manager. When we click Save, we'll see that change is reflected. Likewise, maybe we fix up the property before we start putting tenants in there, in which case maybe it's only going to cost us $30 a month to keep it maintained. Whatever your numbers are, you can edit them by clicking on these boxes, and at any time you can click Save in the top right to make sure you don't have to do this again. Your other set of assumptions are your long-term assumptions. That is, how's this property going to perform over time? The main types of assumptions that we consider here are the property's value, that is, its appreciation and depreciation over time, the rental income and its appreciation or depreciation, and how often we're going to change those rents. Right now we're changing rents every 2 years, and so on the right side we can see a stair-step pattern where every 2 years there's a bump in both our rent income as well as the costs that are associated with our rent income. If we change that from, let's say, 2 to 4 years, we can see that stair-step pattern expand. Likewise, if we think the appreciation rate is going to be more than 3%, let's say 4%, we can see how our equity changes, but our cash flow does not change. If we go a little bit lower, we can see our final set of assumptions, which is our mortgage financing. If we click on the down arrow, we can see all the terms related to our mortgage financing. We've got our mortgage period, our down payment, our interest rate, and our origination fee. Now let's say we change our mortgage period from 30 years to 15 years. We're going to see a sudden drop off on the map at year 15. We can see that our equity grows a lot faster after the 15th year, and our cash flow, even though it's lower at the beginning, then jumps up on year 16 as well. The last thing to note is that sometimes we're not using a traditional mortgage. In some cases, we're using hard money to purchase, and then we're refinancing out of our loan at a later period. Pelago helps you keep track of this using the buy and hold versus BRRRR function. The buy and hold function assumes that you're purchasing it with your mortgage, whereas the BRRRR function assumes that it's acting more like a flip that you then refinance into a long-term hold. So if we click on BRRRR and we scroll down to the bottom, we can see now instead of having a purchase mortgage, we have a refinance mortgage based on the loan to value of the property instead of the amount that's down payment. We can see how this affects our initial cash in versus the cash in that we end with, and how that's going to affect everything else lower down. As a reminder, make sure you save your changes along the way so that you don't have to type in these changes later.